So the idea was I had to talk to people, I had to meet people, I had to put myself out there. So I was like, listen, I'm really nowhere in the world of real estate yet. So why don't
You're doing well.
Huh?
You're doing well, dude.
Now, yeah, but like,
when you
rewind
started.
it to when I started. Yeah, not so much. So I was like, well, call me a bit of a Rogan fanboy, when I started in the whole podcast
oh my God.
thing.
Are we in the manosphere?
We're in the manosphere.
Oh my God, it's so nice here. Wow.
So I just thought it was cool. Like, I'm a pretty chatty guy. Like, I like people. I like hearing a story about how somebody kind of maybe had some difficult times and kind of persevered through and kind of come out on top.
Yeah.
So I was like, listen, I'm going to try and be a broad scope because like all my social media was like real estate tips, buy this, sell that, look at this open house, look at this accepted offer, So it's just a way to kind of be like, hey,
something different. Yeah.
Why don't you listen to this guy or girl tell you about how they come about to do whatever they're doing. And then I found that people actually didn't, surprisingly to me, because I was like, nobody's going to watch this. Apparently people do.
And also, man, like you're better off in whatever you're doing to have a small group of loyal people than a large group of people who are kind of like, I don't know, I'll tap in occasionally.
Yeah.
Right? Give me a small group of loyal people who will ride or die for you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be the biggest thing in the world. It just has to connect with people, truly connect with them.
Yeah. And then the idea was like, if you're not great at social media, I'm doing quite a bit of it. I'll put you on the long format here in the podcast. I'll cut up a few reels. We'll collab with you. We'll get you some exposure. And, funny enough, like my buddy Jake at Mechanical Flood Protection, he had somebody call them a few times. Be like, hey, seen your reel with Chris. I need what you got.
Man, if I were selling almost like with real estate, like we're out there, right? There's so much. Every agent's putting out content all the time.
All the time.
I always wonder like what it would be like as a person who had no involvement in real estate and just be on social media and be like, God damn, man, there's so many real estate agents out there. And I'm sure my algorithm is skewed, but for anything else, you should 100% be on social media and be on podcasts and stuff like that because you're right. Like the days of opening the phone book are gone.
Zero.
Google is a hot mess now. Like I try to Google something and I can't even find the thing I'm trying to get to because everyone else is paid for Google ads and blah, blah, blah. Or it's for some landing page based out of another country that's going to refer you to some local provider that's not going to be a good experience. For someone who's doing a basement or a mechanical thing or whatever, hell yeah, social media I think could be huge. Could be huge. I even think it's untapped as a landlord. You just haven't needed it. But like if it was a more competitive rental market and you wanted to market your rentals, I can't think of a better way to do that than social media.
They kind of get a feel for you as the landlord.
Exactly. It just happens that renting's been like fishing with dynamite for 7 years that you haven't had to really market yourself as a landlord. But that's going to change. And then who else is really, there's some of them that are doing a little bit, but I think for any product that you're selling, the podcast space, the social media space is just huge. It's huge.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, listen, before we get too ahead of ourselves, I just want to welcome you on the show.
Yeah,
Chandler,
thanks, man.
Chandler Haliburton.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Once was, I think, the number one individual agent at RE/MAX, and now you run the number one team.
I mean, we're not going to delve into the stats, but I don't qualify for the individual awards anymore.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah, once you're in team mode, they don't let you do it, which I think is kind of bullshit. But
I just heard the rumors in the past. You were the guy.
Yeah, so I was number one here at RE/MAX for several years. In 2021, I was number one for all Atlantic Canada. So not just here in Nova Scotia, but for all Atlantic Canada. But with that, I was just burnt out. I did that with a part-time assistant, no buyer's agent, no systems, no anything. I was just raw dog in the game.
Yeah.
And just like almost collapsed. Man, I was like well north of 200, bad health, not really seeing my family, and was just collapsing and doing all that at the same time as this podcast and so on. And it just wasn't sustainable. So that's when I started the team. And now we've been the number one team here in Nova Scotia for RE/MAX for, since we came into creation, which was 2022. So.
Well, since we're on that topic, this is actually a later question, but I'm just going to get to it now before I forget about it, because you just kind of nailed a few points there. So, like, bring us back to that, like, trying time where you're kind of going like full crazy, just pumping out transactions. Like today, you got a couple kids; they're in their teens.
The oldest one's 14. Yeah.
Yeah. You're very involved, in their sports and stuff that I from what I can see, the skate park, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Was it worth it? Is it worth
Jesus.
being at the top if that is what you experienced? Or would you be happier at a slightly lower level and not dealing with so much stress? Or can you get there with the systems?
Okay, so
I'm coming
I
at a
think,
few ways
a few things there and a few ways to think about that. I think that real estate sales are a means to an end, right? Because you get big influxes of cash, and when you have that sort of like this injectable lump sums, like you can do some pretty cool things, right? Like it is very hard in a normal salaried position to save up and do anything exciting. Yeah. Like you can squirrel away a little for every paycheck and whatever, but nothing quite hits like I just did a deal and now I've got 25 grand liquid in my pocket.
That's crazy.
Like I can make a significant move, right? So I think that's the real advantage of residential real estate sales because there's no residual. Like when you turn off the conveyor belt, the business stops.
Yeah.
You can build a team, you can build a system, you can build this blah, blah, blah. It's all bullshit. When you stop selling, the money stops. So there isn't really much that you can build that allows you to have the same income and fully step back. And we can talk about the team and the benefits of that in a second. But as a result, I've always looked at selling a lot of real estate as a means to an end. So in my case, I sell a lot of real estate to then buy buildings, right? And like I have bought buildings essentially, and covered them and financed them and carried them while doing renovations just purely out of pocket because of the residential sales earnings. So that's what I've always viewed real estate sales as. So in that perspective, was it worth it? Yeah. But I think if I were pining away at real estate as a paycheck to paycheck job, no, that wouldn't have been worth it.
So means to an end, yes, but if you have no kind of trajectory where you're trying to get from point A to point B, you're just selling real estate to kill yourself to be at the top, you say, is like...
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense.
So get to where you're happy and
use figure out what you actually need to live and then figure out, in this hustle, I can make this amount more. Mm-hmm. What am I going to do with that difference and where am I going to shove that money over to get that residual stuff? Because when we retire, man, there's no pension.
There's nothing.
Right? There's nothing. We're done. You sell that last house and your money stops.
Yeah.
So what have you done in the meantime? So what I did with those successful years is, build a decent real estate portfolio. And even that is another thing that on its own is not going to do the trick. Right? So the last layer of this is when you have equity in there, which you can, again, get big sums of equity. Because now we're talking like, okay, a refi hits and it's like seven figures, right? Like, well, now you put that in something boring, right? Like some, drip, some dividend reinvestment thing. And all of a sudden it's like, all right,
or whatever.
Now I'm getting some real passive income because the selling real estate's not passive. The landlording is not passive.
Right. You know that.
Right. Like, so owning a different hands-off business or lending or investing in boring stuff, that can be a bit more passive.
Okay.
Right. So that's kind of what and for that reason, it was worth it. Like selling real estate and getting to that point, allowed me a lifestyle I never thought I would have and allowed me to have stuff I never thought I would have and for my kids to not want for things and all of that. So it was worth it. But if I had just pissed that money away,
which
like everyone jokes about me driving RAV4 for all this time, right? Like,
it's priorities, right?
I rocked, man, my first car was selling real estate was a car that eventually my parents just kind of gave me. It was a black Hyundai Sonata.
Nice. It's not a car.
Like the ones that kind of look like a cheap Jaguar.
Yeah, I know
Or
what you're
like
talking about.
you know the ones.
Yeah.
And then I got a slightly nicer Hyundai Sonata.
Oh, nice.
And then I can't remember it, but at some point I graduated to the RAV4 and I was like, this thing is incredible. And then I drove RAV4s for, I don't know, a decade, right?
Man.
And pull into a parking lot where every single car was nicer. And because we read out how much money everyone makes at the end of the year, I knew for a fact I made more money than all these my rockers, right? And they've all got way nicer cars than me. But I was taking all that money and just buying real estate, buying real estate, buying real estate.
So for the new folks out there, can you officially say that like what you drive doesn't really matter? Because
Oh my God, it doesn't matter at all. I have a nice car now.
some people, because this comes
but
up.
even now, like I dropped the car, I'm like, why did I even get this?
Like this comes up sometimes because like, I've been like just like riding the way because I got no car payments. My Jetta still looks okay. I've talked to you about it, but then sometimes cars will come up and like I'll just be like, man, Chandler drove a RAV4 till like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And somebody goes, yeah, but they probably know he's got like a lot of rentals, so like that car probably just bounces out his image. And I was like,
I don't know.
you guys really dissected that down deep.
To be honest, I never gave it much thought other than
Somebody.
I wanted a car that was nice enough that it like everything I always did that was client facing, how I dressed, how I talked, how I acted, was truly about making my client feel comfortable. Yeah. And so people sometimes criticized the casual nature of my dress, which when I started in the industry was unheard of.
Right.
All right, not unheard of, but it was not
like
common.
Naz and Craig suits all the time.
Everyone was suited up. Even I did that from all my early headshots whenever I
did
suited
it
up,
too.
right? But my clients weren't comfortable with that, right? Because my clients were my people. Like
Regular
they're same as me. And they're like, they didn't necessarily need to have me showing up that way. But still for like someone who's a little bit more old fashioned, an older client, then I throw on the shirt and tie or whatever it would be. So everything I always did was about making my clients feel comfortable. And with my vehicle, it was sort of the same thing. Like if someone's entrusting you with this major investment, they maybe don't want you to roll up in a hoopty, right? But if they're also feeling like tight and that they need to feel like their business really matters to you, maybe don't show up in a vehicle that makes them feel like, man, is this guy just cleaning people's pockets? Like, so that car was the RAV4 and is the RAV4. Everyone loves the RAV4. No one can say it's not a nice vehicle. Man. No one can say it's too high because we're also here in Nova Scotia and Halifax where if you get a little too high, you get a little too, you're a little too high in the saddle. People like to bring you down.
People like to knock you down.
So, that's what was up with that, my vehicle thing.
Yeah, that's funny, man. I heard a rumor that you need at least a Lexus, so it looks like you got there.
That's honestly, like everyone knows, like a Lexus is just a Toyota with a nicer hood ornament.
Yeah, 100%.
Like my wife has the RX, and I'm in that car. I'm like, this is a RAV4,
just with a Lexus symbol.
But I finally succumbed to the peer pressure, and I got a decently cool ride.
It does look pretty dope. I'm still struggling. I might get something this year, but man, like half the stuff I don't want to pay for.
Oh, well, that's the thing, man. I still my car payment on that car is $500 or less.
Oh, you beat that down then. So.
Yeah, man. I put a big amount down. I'm like, I'm not paying $1,000 a month for a car. That's so
crazy,
stupid.
Isn't it?
That's so stupid.
Yeah.
If you pay $1,000 for a car and you don't make, I don't know, like $200,000, right? Like you're a dummy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my opinion. Not financial advice, but that just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, 0 cents.
Like,
yeah. Well, let's wind it back since we talked a little bit about, back in time. Can you take us back to kind of what Chandler was doing pre-real estate and then like what was the pivotal moment where you decided like, fuck whatever this is, I'm going over here?
Yeah, I mean, some people who have listened to me ramble before have probably heard this, but like I was a professional student. I was at St. Mary's doing a couple degrees, and I was going to be a teacher. That was always my thing. I wanted to be a teacher, a junior high or high school teacher, and I was going to teach English, but you needed 2 teachables. So I also got an economics degree. And then I had this prof. I can't remember his name. Really cool dude. He was from Boston, and he was actually, I think he taught me short stories. So it was just great listening to this guy read these short stories in this thick Boston accent. But one day I was at his office. He's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I'm going to be a teacher. He's like, teacher? Why would you want to be a teacher? It's like, be a prof. At least be a prof. And so I'm like, okay, I'll be a professor. And then at that point I had pivoted. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to be an economics prof. So I did an honors economics degree. But then I just didn't really enjoy it at that high level where you got into econometrics. And so I went back and I'd done an honors English degree, and then I did my master's in literature over in England. And through that time, I mean, I worked at Cleve's Sporting Goods on Spring Garden Road, which was awesome. I worked at the Ultramar at the bottom of like Joe Howe in Fairview with my boy James Donnelly, shout outs.
All right.
That was fun times too, but like I didn't have like a real job.
Yeah.
But I worked a lot in the economics and English department as a tutor, as a TA, as an RA. So I was doing research in the economics department. And then I before I went away to do my master's, I worked at the Split Crow and for RCR catering at the Lord Nelson and at Pier 21. So that was working at the Split Crow and doing that was great. Went away, was a student, and I came back from that, and I'm like, all right, now I'm going to do my PhD because I got to be a prof, right? So I got to do a PhD, which I was looking at like 5 years. 5 years to bang out this PhD.
And how many years total already?
I'd done 5. I'd done 6 years of school so far. Was going to have to essentially take a year off, just the way like the master's ended and starting the PhD. So I was going to be another 3 years to do my PhD, and then probably stretch that to 4 to do my thesis, and then a postdoc somewhere. So probably 5 years. And I was like, fuck,
might as well have been
crazy.
a med student.
I know. Like I truly did look at my profs that I'd had that were young, quote unquote young. I'm like, man, they're 40 years old. They're dead broke. They live in an apartment down the road. They don't have a spouse, and they're working in a city that's nowhere near where they're from. And I'm like, I don't want any part of that lifestyle. My whole vision was like, I will teach because I love teaching. Like I will teach and I'll own rentals around the university, right? Because all of my buddies growing up that their families had money, they all owned rentals. And then I was a student in the student rentals. I'm like, man, this seems like a good hustle. So I was going to be a prof and own rentals on the side. But I just started to be like, man, that's not really an easy path career-wise if my main career is going to be as a prof. So I seemed to just be obsessed with real estate, and I was watching all these shows. I couldn't stop watching HGTV, like any chance I had.
My mom loves that show.
Man, back in the day, they were like actually authentic shows. They're not like the weird stuff that's on there now.
Yeah,
like they were
staged.
actual real content. And I'm like, man, I think I really, really like this. And so yeah, I did the real estate course, and the rest is history.
That's it.
Yeah.
Man, do you find like how's it different from when you got into today? Was there any like few like maybe a couple big differences? Like I know you didn't have like the MLS book, but like it's changed quite a bit from because you've been what 15 years?
18
years.
Biggest difference.
Like what would day to day look like compared to like today? Like if you just rewind to like when you were kind of in it in your first.
Well, I mean, like I would probably say then if you say the day to day, probably like the social media component, right? Like so realizing fully like social media was in its infancy at that point in time. Like even Facebook. I mean, Facebook really started to pop. I think around like 2005, 2006.
Yeah, like
so,
I only got it when I went to university in 2007.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like so, and I was kind of like, oh, isn't this great because this is a real easy way to tell everyone what you're up to.
Yeah.
So I wasn't doing much on there, but it was like a quick shortcut.
Everybody put their status. What's going on tonight?
Yeah, man. Some of the stuff I post on Facebook, I'll come across. I'm like,
Right,
I can't believe I put that as my public post. But
get those memories, right?
Yeah. So I think that's been the biggest change for sure.
Yeah.
Everything else, man, like it's still the same grind, and people try to make it way more complicated than it is. Like when I think of when I started at Coldwell Banker, like what did I do? I went in, I sat in the bullpen, and I worked. What do I do today? You see me around.
Yeah.
I go in, I sit at the bullpen, and I work.
The same.
It's the same thing. And people are like, well, what does that entail? I'm like, I'm contacting people. I'm following up with on stuff. Like I'm putting the work in. It's not rocket science.
So would you say your like method of work today versus then like didn't vary that much? Because like I start to think like you guys do quite a bit of social media now, and obviously we're doing this. How did you get in front of people? Were you just calling? Were you a call guy? Were you an open house guy? Did you do like first time buyer seminars? Like, what was your main kind of jam that you generated?
I mean,
business?
anything and everything. Like this is a contact sport. right? Real estate is a contact sport. And everyone thinks social media will be the silver bullet where I'll put stuff on social media and everyone will contact me. It's not true.
I doubled down too hard on that in my first
Yeah,
couple of years.
People use that because it's easy, and people will always do the easy thing before they do the thing that actually works.
Yeah.
If the thing that actually works is hard.
Guilty.
Yeah, so it's like if someone never posted a single social media video for the entire year, but did an open house every Saturday and every Sunday, they would probably 10x their business compared to someone who never did an open house but did a social media post every week. Right, like there'd be no comparison, right? But no one will do 2 open houses every weekend, but they'll do 5 posts a week.
Right.
Like
because they can sit in their room and
exactly, and it
video
feels
themselves.
good.
Yeah.
Right. Like it doesn't feel good to sit in an empty house and then people come in and you have to talk to them.
Yeah, man. Listen, I did an open house the other day, and I'm like mixed feelings because like I like talking to people, but I find people coming into open houses don't always like talking to me.
Yeah, people are shy, but also like they've been raised like, oh my God, I can't believe someone's talking to me. This is so weird.
Yeah.
Please just like, cloud drop me the information and don't look me in the eye because I'm a coward. Yeah.
100%.
But I think that's going to be the sauce moving forward, right? Like this whole generation that's coming up now, they don't know how to talk to each other.
No.
If you're young and you're coming up in this generation and you learn to talk to people, you are going to crush because life is sales. The most successful people in the world are salespeople. And we're going to have a generation of people that will not know how to sell unless a computer does it for them.
Yeah.
So they're going to be reliant on AI versions of themselves to talk to you because they will not be able to talk to you themselves. Yeah. But at some point, you're going to have to be in a room with someone whose opinion you care about and that matters in your future. You're going to have to sell them.
Yeah.
Right? And those young people that learn how to interact with other human beings, they're going to be fine moving forward.
Yeah, well, that kind of leads me to my next thing, and like just to touch on that, like sometimes I'm like, oh man, like because I like to be able to control like the input, and like for open houses, like I can control how many I do, but I can't control how many people come. So sometimes it's like
again, but do you need 100 people to come or like 2 people that make a connection to come? You need 2 people to make a connection to come.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. So, like, I'm finally like, okay, well, it's friggin' winter, and it's been a miserable winter, but it's, like, pretty nice this weekend, and I haven't really been doing open houses, but I've been doing calls, but, like, and then somebody reached out for me to do one, so I did one. Not one person came until, like, 10 minutes before it was over. Mm-hmm. But I got his name, I got his number, I knew that he's looking for a new house, and he wants to sell his old one. So guess what? I got a listing appointment. And I got a buy. Yeah. Like, and we're going to get after it here after Easter.
The secret is there is no secret.
You just got to do it.
Yeah.
You just got to do it. And I
did open houses every single weekend for like.
Just one or did you do 2?
Back in the day, there weren't 2. It was Sunday. 2 to 4 was like the only open house there was.
Right. So nobody did Saturday.
When did Saturday you advertised them in the newspaper, right? Like so, there was like the expectation was they were on Sunday 2 to 4.
How much did you have to pay to advertise them? Did you have to do it, or did Remax do it?
I think, man, there used to be some sort of allowance. Man, I can't remember what was Remax and what was Coldwell Banker because I was with them for a minute before, where I felt like you paid into this budget and that got you like 1 posting a week maybe you got, or like our office would like bought a page, so like you were good for 1, right? And then if you had to pay more, it was probably like, man, I feel it was like $40 to $60 to run an open house ad in the newspaper.
That's not bad,
right? Like
that, or nobody knew about it, eh?
Well, you put that sign out there and people would drive around, but. Yeah. It was all, but I would do one every single weekend. Like the very first deal I did 2 friends, right? That like they thankfully entrusted me to help them buy a property, even though I didn't know what I was doing. Worked my butt off for them, but like they just were like, "You're my guy, you're my friend. I'll work with you." Nice. But my actual deals out there with the public, it was open house. I did open houses. I did what do you call it? Duty calls.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm the only person here in the bullpen, right? Like, so if the phone rings, it's going to me. I was buddies with the admin people, so like they knew if so and so didn't answer their duty call, I'm sending it to Chandler. He's 10 feet away from me.
Perfect.
Right. So always treat your admin people well. But I got this call from this lady
I think the address was 1301 Beaverbank Road. The addresses have changed now, but she called and she needed to sell her house. And man, that place it just smelled like a ashtray. Like she was smoking in that place nonstop. And it was rough, and it was probably 150,000, something like that. And I did an open house there every weekend for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. I planted like plants in front of the house, trying to make it look better. Like I was doing everything on this, but I pulled business off of that. A really nice young couple came in, and they saw that I was there every weekend, and we just hit it off. We made a good connection, and they didn't buy that house, but they used me to buy a house, and then to sell that house, and then to buy another house, and I think to sell that house, and they referred me to both of their siblings. So, the business I got off of that was probably 6 deals, right? But it's because I was there every weekend.
So you just never really know.
You never really know. And no, that's not true. You do know. If you do it, it will happen.
Right.
Like this is the crazy thing. Like no one wants to call people. No one wants to call, if you were allowed to call expired listings.
Right.
Or for sale by owners, which we're not allowed to do.
Yeah.
But if you were, people are like, oh, I don't want to call that. It's like, well, man, like what was your average sale last year? Do you recall?
My average?
Yeah, look at your average price point. Like 500?
I mean, yeah, at least 500.
500, okay.
Yeah. I think probably a little bit higher, actually.
Okay, we'll just say it's easy. Say 500,
yeah.
Right? And say, like, realistically, your net after paying everything, blah, 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 like maybe you make $5,000 on the deal.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, that means if one deal gets you $5,000, we all know that if you call 20 people, you will get one deal. If you call 20 people, like legitimate people, not like, oh, I'm calling my mom because it's easy, I'm calling my buddy.
Yeah, right.
If you call 20 real people, you're getting a deal, right? So what's $5,000 divided by 20? I don't know, $250?
Yeah, it's 20.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No, it's not right.
No.
Yeah, no, it's $250.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
You made me doubt me for a second.
So, like, you're telling me you wouldn't make a phone call for $250. If you wouldn't make a phone call for $250, you just don't want it bad enough.
You don't want it.
You don't want it.
Man, I know agents don't answer their phone.
Agents don't answer their phone at all.
Right. I called 2 agents last week. 0 answered calls. Immediately text. Both of them immediately answer.
Yeah.
I'm like, answer the fucking phone.
Yeah.
I'd way rather ask you this on the phone than have to type everything out. And I already did.
Totally.
So we're already there now.
Yeah, and I get someone being like, "Oh, listen, I'm with client. I'll call you back." Right? But
Yeah,
they don't answer. They just want to
Yeah,
text.
yeah. Well, that's fine. If you're busy, just let me know you're busy.
But like, can you imagine like, is there any phone call you wouldn't make for $250?
0.
Right? But here
call
we all
people
are. Like,
all
I'm
day.
not calling 20 people today. I should. At $250 a call, I should call 20 people today.
Wow.
And we don't. Right? But like that mentality has to be there of like, this is about outbound calls. This is about contact. This isn't, I just expect my phone to ring and like I expect to do nothing and get paid. Like that's absurd. Like you could say anything to me on the phone. Like if you're a freak out there and you're listening to this, like, like I'll call you for $250. You can say whatever you want to me on the phone for $250.
Send it.
Yeah, you send that e-transfer over. I'll give you 10 minutes. You can do anything you want on that phone call.
Man, that's funny. Yeah, man, I think there's like people aren't willing to do it. Listen, I was one of them. I just thought like, blindly, I was like, come from consumer packaged goods, did like 8.5 years of like the best work I thought I could do over there. And then they're like, yeah, no, thanks, but we're structuring you out of this business. Like the whole like, if you work real hard, you'll always have a job like that. Not when you're an employee ID number on a spreadsheet. So that's kind of where I got into this. Kind of like you, always had an interest in kind of using the corporate job to buy rentals. And then I kind of just like, I don't know, man, I just bought into the whole way of life of that, every little extra I got, I just spent back up to what else can I get? Yeah. What can I buy? I got this. Oh, I got my bonus. What am I? It was just, so I never put it towards any of those goals. So it was like kind of, maybe call it a pipe dream, but things have changed now. So me and Mike actually have a deal. We do like 10 calls a day. And like sometimes you can't get to all 10, but even if you just do one, like the power of one. And then, just so you can, and if you don't do your 10, then, I have a bad habit of like I fall short of goals, I'll like beat myself up over it. But it's like, hey, tomorrow's a new day. Just do your 10 calls.
Yeah.
10 calls tomorrow, but not yesterday. You're still 10 calls ahead.
It's way better than zero.
Yeah, if you just keep doing zero.
Right.
And then I think like everybody walks around so anxious these days. It's like, well, from what I've found and research, like most of your anxiety is generated through stuff that you know you should be doing that you're not doing.
Yeah.
So like maybe take a step and like back and look inward, and like if you feel anxious all the time, like what are you running away from, and maybe get after that.
And the other thing is like, and a buddy of mine who was sort of a mentor years ago would always be like, how bad does it have to get? Because it's obviously just not bad enough yet.
Right.
Right? Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed. I wish I could be making more money. But it's like, what are you doing to change it though? You're not doing anything yet, so it's not bad enough yet. So then the question becomes like, how bad does it have to get? Like, do you have to miss a mortgage payment? Does your wife have to leave you?
Yeah.
Or like how bad does it have to get before you make the 10 calls?
Yeah.
Right? Like, and for some people it has to get pretty bad. Like, people have a pretty high my life sucks tolerance. It blows me away, right? But it just kind of makes it a bit easier for the rest of us.
That'll do it.
But like, I don't wish it on them, but
I mean, not to get too like on that side of things, but you can just look at kind of the state of the union out there, and like, affordability, the cost of everything, inflation,
totally.
And it's like, oh, well, guess it's not bad enough. Like, we'll just keep going in the direction we're going until, maybe you lose your house, and then maybe things will.
It's funny what
change.
People are willing to sacrifice and what they're not willing to sacrifice.
You know what I think they're willing to sacrifice? Just being wrong for the sake of being wrong instead of admitting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, people are willing to sacrifice.
Like, they'll double down on being wrong instead of admitting they were wrong and then pivoting. I feel like that's like the demise of most people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to admit, I know you know that you're right and I'm wrong. I'm never going to admit that to you. I'm just going to double down until there's nowhere else to go. Bottom, just so you hit rock bottom. But anyway, you're getting off on a tangent. Let's kind of get back to the main topic. So, back when you started to today, do you feel like it's harder for new agents to get in the business or easier?
No. Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Maybe lay over some reasons why.
I mean, it's I guess the one thing that might be harder in our really localized market here is that our inventory has been shrinking. Right, like there's just less deals happening than there has been in the past. Like, so there's that element of it for sure, and there's more agents. But because of things like social media, you can on day one have people convinced that you are a great agent.
Yeah.
Right, like you can have them convinced. It used to be you had to prove it. Now you can just kind of say it and film it and edit it. And then you are it. And not only that, but you can reach thousands of people very, very quickly. So that is incredible. It still means nothing if you don't back it up. Mm-hmm. But that overnight facade of credibility and ability to reach people is so much better now than it was then. Right? Like, I had to send people letters. I had to call people. Like, you don't have to do that. I had to, go and present a resume, and, people, genuinely asked you, what can you tell me about this neighborhood? Do you know what school district I'm in right now? Right? Like, now you can just kind of win them over with some really clever marketing. So I think to hit the ground running is much easier now. Like, you can go to 0 to 100 much easier now in this industry. I think probably, there's some other stuff that's probably more challenging that they would know better than I would, because I only know my experience. And then there's also the fact that the commissions are way higher. Like, I was doing deals where, like, a semi would have been 120 to 160. Did a lot of mini homes. I was saying this the other day. Like, mini homes were so cheap that they couldn't even pay a commission. They would be like a fixed rate. Like, you'd sell a mini home for $500.
Right.
Like,
what they go for $60K.
Because they're I've sold a mini home probably for $7,000 before.
right? But definitely a bunch around 30.
Yeah.
Remember some for 17. You might have like a nice one in a good park. You might get up to like 70, right? But at 70, you're like, oh man, and 2.5% commission. It's like, it's pretty low, right? Like, and it's all the same amount of work.
Yeah.
Right. So the paydays are a lot bigger. The instant success, like people come into the industry now and grow much more quickly, right? Because not only are you doing a great job for a client, like back in the day, you had to hope that that client
Would talk to
mentioned it to
Right.
someone, literally picked up a phone or like told a neighbor that Chris is great. What do they do now? Social media, social media, social media, social
yeah.
media. I bought a house. I bought a house. Share, like, you know. So the ability to build your brand and to have people share, you know, if you get those ride or die people willing to share and support you, you can scale that much quicker now. Yeah, I know there's some other challenges, and they would be better to say what they are, but I just, yeah, for more money and quicker to do, yeah, I'd say it's easier now.
Some way more of a grind when you got into it because we just talked about like you still got to do the traditional things that a lot of people maybe aren't willing to do now because they want to hide behind the
man,
social.
to get from I think to get from zero to a certain plateau way quicker now, but the grind to get from that plateau to being a rock star, it's still very difficult because it's still the same grind.
Right.
Right.
So you can't just lean in on just socials because you're going to get buried by the people doing the rest of it.
Exactly. Anyone who's a big social media agent that's also a top producer is because they're doing a lot of shit you don't see
Right.
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not just the social media.
Yeah, and I feel like people kind of have that kind of notion where it's like, you push this pen around a little bit and make a little Instagram reel and you make, 200K or whatever.
Yeah, not the case.
It's like, oh yeah, like, and then a lot of people think that you get like the whole listing fee.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they don't get that either.
Yeah.
But there's some education all around, I guess. But yeah, for me, definitely kind of hid behind the social media thing for a couple of years. Just thought that was kind of going to be it.
Well, I mean, the obvious
it
question,
helped.
like, and I'm saying this to give full credit because I think some people go, oh well, yeah, they're doing great, like because of their social media.
No.
And it's like, no, like that's a really great tool and they're using it really well, but that's doing them a disservice to say that they're only successful because of their social media. It's all the other stuff. The social media won't do jack for you if you're not good and you're not putting the hours in. And the proof of that is, every single real estate agent now does pretty nifty social media.
Pretty nifty.
How many agents actually crush it? Not that many.
Yeah, well, it's that
Right?
80-20 rule, right?
So, no, but to start day one and quickly establish yourself and get your brand out there and get your credibility out there and spread the gospel of your services way easier now. So you can get to here quick. You still have to grind to get really high.
Because I remember we had a conversation pretty early on when I joined Remax. I'd already been in the business a year, and I was always kind of a guy that I was like, I'm going to beat whatever stats it is to like get to wherever people consider you being like pretty successful. And you were kind of pretty upfront. You're like, listen, man, it's probably going to take you like 3 if you're good, but like probably 5 years to really get to somewhere where you're happy. And like, I probably wasted the first couple not doing the right stuff, but like, I'd say you're pretty bang on. Like I'm kind of 5 years in May. Had my best year yet last year.
Yeah.
This year, on pace to be better.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, Chandler was right.
Yeah.
Took me 5 years to really get to that level.
Yeah, because it just takes that long to figure out, what your strengths are and who your people are and how to get at them and to learn the industry.
And I pivoted too much. I was like, oh, this is a good idea. And then I wouldn't do it long enough. And I pivot.
Yeah.
I'd be like, this looks like a good idea, but oh shit, this is too expensive. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't make enough money to sustain this.
Yeah. Well, and you're at the point now where you have enough data to actually look and see what worked.
Yeah.
And what turns out every single time is like, oh man, what actually worked is the people I knew bought houses with me.
Right. 100%.
So the question is,
And whatever you maintain consistency with.
Yeah, but like, how do I get to a point where I get to know more people? Right? What are the things that I do that are my strengths to get to know more people? Because if I know more people, I will sell more houses, and that's a intentionally reductive, explanation of it, but that's what it is. And so if your thing to get to know more people is to be on social media, then cool, that's your thing. That's how you get to know more people, blah, blah. But if your thing to get to know more people is doing a podcast or, being an avid golfer and involved at your, local golf course, if it's to volunteer, like whatever your thing is that gets you knowing more people, you do that, you know more people, you sell more houses.
Yeah, man.
Right? So it takes a while to figure that out.
Yeah, and I would say you're right again. It took me a while to figure out kind of what I like to do. Like talking to people, this makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not getting leads out of you, but
No, you are not. No.
But it is a vessel that definitely I use to kind of make those it's like networking.
Yeah.
It's like longer format networking.
Yeah.
I like to do like events for my clients, which I know we have like an Easter event on the same day.
That's right. Yeah.
Coming up next weekend. I found that I like to do stuff for people and have them come. So I kind of like paired that up with social media, some calling, some open houses. And that's kind of my approach to it, but like doing it all fairly consistently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cause just like, darting around doing this and this and this and a little bit, it's not.
Yeah. Cause you're going to,
like jack all trades, master none kind of type thing.
Yeah. Because you're going to give, 4 different people one touch as opposed to the same person 4 touches, and the latter is always better.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
So.
Yeah, I think they say it takes like up to 4 calls to really get a yes
with someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Some people call some people once, and that's it. It's like, well, did you talk to him? No, I left a voicemail. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna call him back?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Like,
that's what's like. Oh my god!
Just like one time, that's it. Like on to the next one. Never call them again.
Yeah, and this is the other thing. Like, there's so much education out there now too. If you're willing to listen to it, the problem is there's so much people just trying to sell you stuff. And if you're selling something to a realtor, you're like, all right, they want to be promised a shortcut. They want something that appeals to their vanity. They want it quick. It's like, all right, let's just tell them, buy this program on how to have a good Instagram and your problems will be over. I'm like, perfect, sold, right? Like where the actual things are, people holding you accountable, like calls and appointments and touches and all those things. But it's harder to sell that stuff because that's the stuff people don't want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And no offense to people that do that for a living. I'm sure some people are good at it, but what am I trying to get at here? I might offend some people. I'm just going to say it anyway. I feel like if you're good at real estate, but you're selling how to be good at real estate, like I don't know how good you really are. Because
dude, 100%.
You're selling it, you're buying it. You're not teaching people how to fucking do what you do.
This is the thing. Like we made the podcast because we were tired of phonies selling programs on how to buy income properties, and it was bullshit. What they were saying was bullshit. The people were bullshit. It was all bullshit.
Yeah.
So we
what
were
about the guys that come from the States and they're telling
you, you need to find these short sales and get a hold of your local loan officer. You're like, man, you didn't even Google this area.
Right. You don't know how it works here.
It's all bullshit, man. So that's why we made the podcast. We're like, man, I'm tired of listening to this stuff. Let's just give the actual truth away for free. Which turned out was a terrible business model.
You didn't find you got any.
Well, but we were just like, man, we got all kinds of actually organic business, which was the best kind. Like we had a loyal following of people who then supported our business in all kinds of different ways. But we had a Patreon for a minute, but again, it just felt like, man, we want to just give people this information.
Right.
I've got a major hate on for all those programs too.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you look into the people, you're like, what you're saying is not true, man. In terms of what you say you are.
Yeah.
Right? I'd rather someone say, hey, listen, I'm not great at doing this thing, but I'm an awesome teacher. It's like, cool. I respect that. Yeah. Or if someone comes in there and be like, learn from me, and then I'm like, well, I just, checked your CV and you didn't actually do these things, right? Again, you don't have to.
Don't believe everything that's out on the internet then.
Oh, man. It's smoke and mirrors. And with real estate, it's so easy to be smoke and mirrors. It's so easy.
It's a lot of it.
We can be like, man, I own, $17 million worth of real estate. And then it's like, well, in some markets, that's 4 properties. And if you own them with 10 other people and, you're in 10%, like your loan to value on the deal was 10%. So it's like you own like 10% of 10% of 4 properties. Right? Like that's not, you know what I mean? Like
you don't really own them.
which is totally fine as long as you're truthful about that. Right?
Yeah.
That's what I just hate when people fake the funk, man. It drives me crazy.
Deceit.
But that's my pettiness because like it's so hard to do and like it's a grind and but that's probably my insecurity and pettiness creeping through there.
Yeah. Well, fair
More
enough.
power to anyone who's selling something and getting someone to buy it, whatever, do your thing.
Yeah. I mean, we did talk about like sales is kind of where it's at. So if you can convince people, then maybe you're just better at sales than us.
Yeah, if you can sell, man, you'll never be out of a job, right? So
Yeah.
these kids that are young, hopefully some of them learn the gift of gab.
Yeah. So get your head out your phone, talk to some real people, and,
Yeah.
and get do some of that traditional, like just like go out and meet some people at a bar
Yeah.
instead of like,
Yeah. You might even get laid.
right? Yeah. Instead of
Are we allowed to say
swiping
that? I don't know what the vibe
yeah,
is of the
sure.
show.
We can do whatever we
right.
want. Yeah. I'm not, no filters here. Let's dive a little bit deeper into it. So, I guess when you said you were kind of going pretty ham, like I think it was just prior to getting the team, like COVID.
Yeah.
Not that we want to beat that dead horse, but like from then to now, what market would you rather be in?
I like this market more than COVID.
Yeah. Can you tell some of the viewers why?
I don't think that it's a good scenario for the market to be under abnormal conditions.
Fair.
Like that's at its most, and I'm not trying to sound like that's me being like a great guy. I'm like, oh, I'm just so worried about the market and the people in it. Like, no, like I'm going to make the same money. Like I make the same money, COVID, no COVID, right? But like I would have instances where I'd meet a young couple would reach out. They're like, hey, we're pre-approved. We're ready to go. And we actually kind of like this house. And I'm like, well, we don't even have time to grab coffee. I'll meet you at the house tonight at 5:15. And they'd roll up, green-eyed, scared of their own shadow. And they meet me for the first time, some dude. And I'm like, hey, here's the house. We've got 25 minutes because there's another group coming right after us. Offers are due 3 hours from now. And we've got to bid, 70 to 80,000 over the asking price and keep our conditions short. And they're like, who are you? It was a not ideal time to be working in that space.
So even for you, like a tenured, is that maybe the right
Yeah.
word? Yeah. Seasoned
Yeah.
real estate agent, top producer, you're still even getting pushback from people that are like,
It's not even that it's getting pushback. It just wasn't a fun experience for them.
of course.
And fortunately, I felt like I could give them some level of comfort. Like I said off the hop, everything I do when I'm with a client is to try to make them feel as comfortable through this process as possible.
100%.
But it is hard to do that when you're meeting someone for 25 minutes and then telling them you have to make the biggest investment of their life. And there are definitely some instances, like I feel really good about all the deals that I did during that time, and thankfully the market continued to run. But there were definitely some people that probably got into houses and situations that in hindsight they wish they didn't. Now, again, the run-up got everyone out of a lot of, sticky spots if they were in one. But as it continued, like there's people out there who bought in 2023 that are like, ugh. They caught the tail end of the challenges, but also the tail end of the run-up. And there's some people who bought houses that maybe they didn't want or felt they had to settle, or overpaid or blah, blah, blah. Like it happened.
Yeah, you do find like some people are like moving just in like they landed here, but they're like not quite happy there, but they want to be kind of not that far away, but they're making moves.
Yeah.
It was kind of like the blinders were on. It was the only good house.
Yeah.
In that area.
So like I like when I can actually meet a client and I can feel like I'm adding value to the process and not just like chaining them to a train that's running.
Yeah, because how do you really demonstrate that much value to somebody when?
Well, the value was like, do you know how to win a bidding war?
Yeah.
Right. Like, do you have are you able to predict what this property might go for?
Yeah.
Can you build a rapport with the listing agent?
Yeah.
Right. Like, can you structure a deal and keep it clean?
Yeah.
And execute it on a way that makes your offer stand out? Like that's where your value started to come. And can you explain to your client why this home is going to sell for 90 grand over the asking price, right? And not have them think you're a schmuck and want to get rid of you, right? Like that's where the skill was. It was a different skill set.
Yeah. How did you kind of manage that? Because I had a way that I did it. I wasn't as busy, obviously, and I started right in the shit.
Yeah.
So like for the few people that did trust me, I just basically had a Google spreadsheet, and like everything we looked at, I put it in the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Anything they liked.
Yeah. No, that's great.
And then basically I put the list price, what it sold for, because half of them we could, some places got conditional before we even got there. Mm-hmm. And then if we did bid but didn't get it, I would put what we bid, what it firmed up for, the delta of what we lost by, and then like the percentage. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then like hopefully we were all looking in the roughly the same area, because then I'd have a bunch of data points, and then I'd have an average over asking. And then I'd look at the price points and the similar, if it was a similar style house, I was like, well, and like even like it didn't even matter. It could have been a bungalow to a split entry. It kind of was like still landing in that range.
Yeah.
I found, because there's no inventory.
Yeah, I was maybe not producing a spreadsheet like that. I was just doing.
Keep in mind, I had way more time.
Yeah, way more time. Like, but I was pumping out like 100 ends.
Yeah.
Right. Like where I was like, intuitively I could be like, I know what this is going to to go for, because I was in that
just
house,
had it up here.
right? Like, but it's still conveying that to them in a way that you're confident, and it gives them confidence.
I will say some people didn't like it because it showed them
their shortcomings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lost a couple clients.
Yeah. If it comes off as too harsh, right?
Yeah. Because I'm very like, this is just black and white.
Yeah.
I say, and maybe like, I shouldn't have the column like Chris said.
Yeah. I wouldn't put that column.
It was more for me, but I didn't realize it was so negatively viewed.
Yeah. So, I mean, I used to, like, multiple offers were not common, right? So, around 2017, 2018.
Was that the shipyard coming in?
No, that was 2012.
I guess that would have been 12.
Yeah. So, it was sort of like, all right, 2012 was a little bit crazy, but still not psycho.
How many ends sold that year?
I don't recall.
HRM? No?
Yeah.
It's roughly always around 5,000, right?
Yeah, I was going to say it was probably around that. But like I used to kind of keep little tabs of like, all right, how many multiple offers was I in? How much did they go over asking? Mm-hmm. And then by the time 2019 was coming on, it's like, man, I was for my first, I think it was 2000, I think it was 2019 that I was in 21 multiple offers situation by like the end of March. And I'm like, I don't know that tracking this is going to make a difference. Like this is something kind of different that's going on here. And then it just ran, man. It ran. It's crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
So way better today. You can actually do your job, demonstrate some value.
There's a bit of sanity, right? Because market value, right? Like, what are the principles of market value? One of them is like, no side is under any undue duress, right? And that can't be said about that time, right? Like, and this is the thing where like,
it's the worst.
People like, what's market value? Market value. It's like, well, technically, if there are sides like under duress, it's not market value, and you can make an argument that buyers have been under duress. Now, a market caused duress, sure, but like it was a bit unusual.
Yeah, I mean, I lost a deal too. Like some of my first clients ever, they had the mother-in-law, so my buddy's wife's mom, wanted to sell this piece of land in Indigo. It's a little flag lot off Magenta. And anyway, I was like, oh yeah, I'm happy to sell that. And they're like, well, what do you think it's worth? So you do go pull some comparables and look at Indigo, and I was like, talked to a few people because didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Because like land's harder to price, in my opinion.
Land's super tricky.
Yeah, than housing. So I was like, yeah, I think we could do like 125. She's like, no, I bet you I can get like 250. I was like, there's nothing that shows here that you get 250. She bought a marketplace, got 250, and now what's land selling for in Indigo? If you get a $250,000 lot, I think you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And she basically sold it, and like kind of like next time she sees me, she's like, yeah, I sold that lot. Like kind of like, what the fuck, you
Listen,
don't know
man,
shit.
yeah, no one's infallible, right?
But how was I supposed to know?
Yeah.
All the market comparables didn't show that.
But that was the tricky thing, because like, all right, that sold how many months ago? So how much would I add to this? Like it was just.
I even had like a high producing agent tell me what he would go back with. And she was like, yeah, no. I was like, well,
Yeah, like there was a speculative component to it, right? Like, and you don't really want to be buying real estate like speculatively, but that's what it was. And it worked out pretty well because the prices just kept running. Whether or not that's a good or bad thing, it kind of made sure some people that, they didn't get in hot water.
Yeah. We did take a smidge like stuff come down a little bit this year.
Yeah. It depends where you're at, what you got. Yeah.
What about overall, like, what are we down, like 4%?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm talking out my ass because
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
check the stats.
But, like-
I think that's close to what it was.
Yeah. I think that was like the year over year. For
Yeah.
maybe February, something like that. It was down a bit and volume's down. But yeah, it's weird out there right now.
Yeah. What's your outlook for the 2026 season?
I think we're going to be pretty flat.
Pretty flat.
Like value wise, I think the good stuff's still going to sell. I think we still have a shortage of houses, so there's going to be enough demand to get most of the stuff gobbled up. But like if you're in a peripheral area, you're on the higher end of the price point, or you don't have something unique, like you're going to have a bit of a grind. Like and going back to the time, like when I started, like if you sold a home in under 90 days, you were walking around like king of the office.
King of the
right?
office.
Like look at
people
me
now
go.
think like they're on market 2 weeks, they're panicking.
Exactly,
It's
right?
guys,
Like so,
average days are like 48.
Yeah.
Like, chill.
like, which again, with like
Plus,
no,
he didn't
no
price
agent,
it where I said either. So.
yeah, no agent would have dreamed of 48 days on the market back when I
Right.
started. That was not even a remote consideration until
So that would have been like amazing.
it would have been shocking.
Yeah, like you're cartwheeling the bullpen.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, how did I even do this?
I know. But I think we'll get back to that a little bit, like where people shouldn't panic if their home's on the market for 30 days. It's like,
Yeah.
especially this time of year.
'Cause I feel like it did set a bad precedence for like new agents coming in too. It's like, wow, my house didn't sell in 3 days.
Yeah. That's true. And in fairness to them, they would have had to have like some pretty crazy conversations for people who were just new to the industry.
Right.
And like they would have to have an answer of like, how come my home didn't sell right away? And if they're like, I don't really know, I'm kind of new to this. That would be pretty tricky.
Right.
Yeah.
Why do you think most people fail at this job?
Most people don't work hard in life in general.
I concur. The bar's pretty low
Like, why do you think most people aren't rich?
because they don't want it.
Yeah, they don't want it. And
They
that's
just wanna
perfectly
talk
fine.
They want to talk about it.
It's perfectly fine.
Talk about practice.
And sorry, like, and maybe that was like, that was my bias, like, because I believe in wanting to make a lot of money, and I believe in wanting to be number one, and I believe in working hard. Some people are just like, it's not really my thing. And I totally get that. Some of them are incredibly happy.
Yeah.
Like, so, like someone asked me this one time because like, the one thing that like I like about not getting individual awards, right, is like the pressure and the competitiveness
It's off.
that came with that, right? Like, you know, and someone asked me one time, they say, would you rather have your best year in real estate, make more money, you know, but come second, or have a worse year in real estate but come first? I was like, oh, I don't know. And they're like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot, right? Like there's so much ego and vanity tied up in that for those top producers. And then there's some people, man, like you know them, they're around the office. They have like a nice little book of business. They're chill. They make their same amount every year. It's not too low, not too high.
Yeah, they seem the happiest.
But they're happy as can be, right? But why do a lot of people fail? Like the failing is like they don't hit a bare minimum threshold of willingness to work. And maybe it's just because it's not their thing, right? Like I'm sure they'll find their thing and they'll work really hard at it, but they get into this thinking it's going to be one thing. They find out it's not, and then they're not willing to put the work in required to make it the thing they envision.
Yeah, because like I'm bestowed to people. Like you're the admin, you're the salesperson, you're the marketer, you're the negotiator, you're a part-time therapist.
It's worse than that. You're your only boss.
Right.
Right?
Nobody
Like,
else is accountable
No
for you
one's
but
going to
you.
hold you accountable.
Just
right?
you. And
So-
most people won't even do that.
Yeah, it's why the people with big egos tend to do well, because your ego will sometimes hold you accountable, right? Like, you know, when you're working out in the gym for a summer six pack, you know, you don't need a trainer if you're so egotistical. You know what I mean? If you're so vain,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. You can look in the mirror and be like, I'm not quite there yet.
this is why sometimes like ego has a lot of negative connotations. It can be a very powerful, useful thing.
Yeah. It's all how you use it.
Yeah. You know, I think anyone has the capability to
to do well in the industry because it's very simple. Some people just don't work hard enough at it, and that's not a criticism of them per se, like, because they may just don't like it that much. Like, I also happen to like selling real estate, and I like making money even more, and I kind of like being a top producer, maybe even more than making money, right? Like, so that's just what I like, and you work accordingly. But some people just maybe don't like it that much.
Yeah, I think we like a lot of the same things. I'm just on my way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I could do, like, I'm not a big, like, the awards gala is cool, but, like, I don't know. I got brought up, like, we played hockey a lot, and, like, you know, I didn't make the show, but I don't know. I feel like people sold me a little short, pun intended. I guess I kind of am short.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, you know, I just felt like, you know, growing up, sometimes if you shot too high, I'd be like, like, that's a little too unrealistic. Why don't you temper your expectations down?
Yeah.
Because, like, I was going to go to the NHL, and I was pretty good. But at my house, you were not allowed to breathe a word that you were better than anybody at anything, even if you were one of the top guys on the competitive, like, rep hockey team. So the whole, like, singing your praises from the rooftops at a gala to get an award, like, it just, I don't know. I go, but it's just like, I'm not, like, it's like the most uncomfortable part.
Oh, 100%, dude. Like, I like to do it, and then I never want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And, like, my wife and people around me be like, man, you don't celebrate the wins at all.
That's
I'm like,
my
no,
wife.
like, I just,
Yeah.
it's done. Like, that's what I expected. I'm glad I did it. It's relief.
Yeah.
But on to the next thing.
Yeah.
There's no joy in it, ironically, because I don't,
you derive your value and your joy from other things that obviously come from that.
Yeah.
But you don't need to go.
Yeah.
Either, get your award in your picture.
No, I
maybe
hate
it's
going
different.
up there.
Maybe, yeah. Well, you guys all did it this year.
Yeah. We trekked across there.
Yeah. If you were hiring a real estate agent, what are some of the top traits you're looking for somebody that can get you across the finish line, you can trust, they're not doing any sleazy shit in the background, telling the inspector not to report certain things because you need this deal to eat?
I mean, like, and maybe I'm biased here. Like, I do genuinely put value on experience and expertise. We have a very funny industry where most people do more research on what they're going to stream what they're going to drive or what restaurant they're going to go to than what realtor they use. Because think about it, man. If you were like, you're sitting with your wife, you're trying to think, all right, what are we going to watch on TV, right? You're going to watch a few previews. You're going to go online. You're going to look up, Rotten Tomatoes, or you're going to be like, all right, what are the best streaming shows for March right now? You can check those out. You're going to think about what actors in there. Right? I like Jason Bateman and pretty much everything he does. So maybe like, okay, blah, blah, blah.
Because he's good.
Yeah, like, okay, now I'm going to commit to watching this show. And you be shocked. Most people decide their realtor on two things. One, their cousin's friend, right? Or first person in through the door. And I have benefited from that on many occasions. Right? It's a personal connection, or I'm the first person to get through the door because I follow up with them, I touch them, blah, blah, blah. I say, I'll meet you tonight at 7:30 on a Friday. I don't care, right? So, like, that is how most people make the decision. I would treat it at least as much as I treat it like trying to decide what show I'm going to stream. I'm going to, like, check the credentials of the person, and then I'm a big vibe guy. Like, I truly believe you should work with someone who makes you feel comfortable. And that's why it was hard early on sometimes to be like, oh man, like, I can't believe someone is working with that schmuck over there. But I may not be the right person for everyone. So if that schmuck knows what they're doing, but they're kind of like, I think they're a weirdo, but maybe their weird matches that client's weird and they're two peas in a pod.
Right.
So good on them.
Weird
right?
all around.
Like, so the vibes matter to me too. Like, it should be someone that you feel you can lay things bare with, right? This is going to be, whether you're buying or selling, the biggest thing you have going on in your life at that moment.
Probably the most big, yeah.
Also, like,
maybe
a little bit personal, right? Like hey, I got a, new job and I'm going to the province, but by the way, my spouse, like, he doesn't really want to move, so it's a bit sensitive there. Like, is the realtor that you've hired like someone you feel comfortable having those chats with? Or like, hey, just so you know, the down payment's coming from my parents, right? Like, and I feel a little weird saying that, but like, they're my parents. Like, you want an agent who you feel comfortable telling that
Yeah.
to, because that matters to the transaction. So once you've checked their base level credentials, then for me, a big thing is just personality match and how good you feel that this person takes it as seriously as they should, given it's the biggest thing you're going to do. It is. Like, it's wild to me that if I wanted to sell you a $100 mutual fund, I'd have to go to school for 4 years, and then I'd have to write some big course, and then I could sell you a $100 mutual fund. You can get licensed to sell real estate in 4 weeks, and then you can sell someone a $14 million property.
Yeah.
Makes no sense, right? But
It does make no sense.
it makes no sense. They're changing it. It'll change slowly. It's already in bigger markets. It's a little more arduous, and it'll get there here. But
Yeah. So you're not the guy hiring brand new agents if you're selling your house.
man, if someone's a brand new agent and they've crushed it and they've got more ends in a short period of time, then other agents who are like, I've been around for 5 years. Like, well, you never sold anything, right? Then I would go with a newer agent. But like, it's hard as a newer agent to actually know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
Right? Like, now a newer agent who's from the area, okay, right? Like,
At least you know the area.
yeah, it's funny when like I'll talk to someone like an agent and I'll be like, like they won't know like where the Hydrostone is, right? Like, or like, some landmark like you're like, oh, Micmac Mall, and like, where's that? And it's like, oh, damn, man, like this would be really hard for you. Like, I'm not saying it, like I feel for you because like you drop me down in another city, like I could build a business off of contacts, but it would take a long time for me to truly know that city.
Yeah.
Like, you go to North End Dartmouth and you go street to street, and life is very different, right? You don't know that nuance until you've lived here for a while. Same thing, like you go off Connaught, right? In Halifax, right? Like there's there's public housing over here, and then there's like, places where the land with no house is worth $500,000. Like, if you don't know the area, it takes a while to build that up. So I'm not saying I would never work with a newer agent, but I think experience freaking matters.
Yeah, or at least come correct. Like, come with some information, some knowledge, whether it's of the area or, just seem competent, I guess.
And man, like if I were to go back in time and be a newer agent, or if I were a newer agent, trying to get a listing as maybe a little bit over my head, like everyone respects the answer, like, I don't know, but I will find out for you, right? So if you go there as a young agent, don't try to talk out of your ass. You just say, I don't know, but I'll find out the answer for you. And I would do things like, be like, listen, full transparency, I don't know this area or this market that well, this particular subsection of the market, but no one's going to work harder. These are my marketing skills. This is what I bring to the table, blah, blah. And if you're not comfortable with me not knowing the market, let's find a senior agent who works specifically in this area, and either I'll get them to come in and do a value assessment, or I can bring them on the listing as my partner, right? Like, because I'd rather get half the listing than not the listing at all, right?
That's a great way to think about it, which I definitely didn't think about when I was new.
Yeah.
I wanted it all for me, right?
I remember like
the brokerage was taking so much.
One of the things that changed my perspective on the industry and my role and my potential in it was when I took senior agents on listing presentations and they sucked. And I was like, what does this tell me about this industry? Like, one, like competency alone doesn't necessarily correlate with success, because these are successful people who are not especially competent. And two, there's probably an avenue here for me to be very successful.
How do you reach success without competence?
Because there's, like I said, the majority of people choose their real estate agent based on a personal connection and first person through the door.
So if you can be two of those people.
Have you ever met a real estate agent who actually has a big book of business and doesn't seem especially competent? No comment. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'll let. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. Definitely.
So it happens. Well, how does it happen? Right? And maybe their strengths are other things. They could be the nicest people in the world.
Yeah, or they're super connected, and yeah, definitely. Never thought of that. I know we already beat this one up a little bit, but I just want to ask again since we're kind of on the topic.
I should finish, like, you can be incredibly competent and also, like, you meet some very intelligent people who don't sell any homes.
Yeah, or very intelligent people that don't amount to anything because they don't have
So it's you need a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But, like, man, give me persistence and pursuit and aggression over competence, at least if I want the outcome to be results.
Right. Yeah. If somebody's
is the
going to
other
drive forward, they're going to get somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're not doing anything.
Yeah, which is not great, but that's true in everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Just point and shoot. Like,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely agree with that. So, I mean, I probably know the answer because we've already beat it up. But so most agents that don't succeed here just not doing the level of work that they need to be doing to get to where they are.
Yeah. They may have some other challenges, being new to an area, being young, right? Challenging market. There may be other things, but at the end of the day, all those things can be overcome with the right strategy. They may just not have someone helping them to know those things, right? But even that's hard to find excuse for because those people are around. You can ask them.
And you
can learn online.
Yeah, and for everybody, like I steal this from like I do a lot of like soul searching and stuff through like my losing my corporate job, my dog, trying to envision like what life was going to be like being in this industry, and then like thinking about fatherhood. Did a lot of reading and I did a lot of Marcus Aurelius I stumbled upon, and did a lot of like reading on Stoicism. Read a lot of Ryan Holiday's books, which he's more like a
daily Stoic.
Yeah, a modern day Stoic.
Did he do Ego is the Enemy too, or is that someone else?
Ego is the Enemy, Obstacles the Way. Yeah, he's got a bunch of good books.
Yeah.
But one thing, it was like an insert, and I might butcher it a little bit, but it's from Marcus Aurelius' book of Meditations. It was like everybody asked for help at some point and learn from somebody else. So who cares? Just ask for help. And I was guilty of like, I'm going to do this all on my own because I need to do it on my own, because if I don't do it on my own, then somebody else did it for me. And that was like a form of failure to me. But things turned around when I did start talking to people, asking people, got a mentor, figured out I wasn't doing the right shit, or at least like not enough of the right shit consistently enough. And then lo and behold, you get a little direction, you do what people say, here we are.
Yeah, I mean, like, one, it just makes everything quicker. Like, you could have done it entirely on your own. It would just taken you way longer.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
or maybe not. Maybe I quit. Maybe I failed. Maybe maybe I decide I can't do it.
Yeah. Or before you figure it out, your life goes down the tube. You know what I mean?
You
like,
gotta eat.
You figured it out too late.
Yeah. Like, I'm lucky my wife could float the boat.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But she didn't need me.
Yeah.
Demonstrated that pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Which was also another pretty big motivator to get after it. Because like I had to be the man again.
Yeah.
And definitely wasn't feeling like that in the early years. But no sweat. So since you mentioned the kids, how has life in real estate been with kids, and how have you kind of blended that into the balance?
Yeah, I mean, I like to be busy, so I haven't minded it too much, but it is challenging.
Yeah.
I often thought about that. I'm like, man, how do people do this with kids? And then we adopted our kids. So like just one day, there's like a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old in the house being like, what's for dinner and what are we doing later? And I'm like, I don't know about you, but I'm showing houses. I'm showing houses, bro.
Right.
So it was wild. And just contextually, the boys moved in 2018, I would say. So like my second half of 2018 was kind of slow because we were prepping for getting these kids, like doing all the adoption stuff. It was quite a process. And then they move in, and so then there's all that, right? And I'm trying, and my business was like just grinding to a halt. And then so sometime, probably around like Q2 of 2019, I was like, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I'm used to being, because the last 6 months have kind of been a wash. And I reached out to other agents. I was like, who's with me? Who wants to do an accountability thing? We'll get to the office. I think it was like 7:00, which like in real estate agent terms might as well be the crack of dawn, right? Like we'll go there. We'll talk about what's going on. We'll set goals.
You said 7 a.m.?
We'll be accountable. 7 a.m. I think it was like once a week or something. I can't even remember what the details were. And it was me and a handful of other, predominantly younger agents, just like meeting and being like, let's hold ourselves accountable, get to the office, do work. And so, not surprisingly, my business picked right back up and I was rolling.
So you're the accountability guy.
I was the one that started the accountability at RE/MAX that later evolved into the accountability things.
Yeah, nice.
And so my second half of 2019 was like gangbusters, right? Because I know what to do. So I flip the switch, I do the thing, and business starts. And then early 2020, it's like, hey, there's this little cold and flu thing going around. Might be a bit of a problem. You may not be able to work for like, a couple weeks. So I'm like, well, shit, man, I gotta go here. And so I was slanging houses, man, masked up, gloved up. People were like, are you still showing up? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm showing everything.
Right.
Right. And so I was going crazy leading up to this, what I thought was going to be a work hiatus. Turns out all COVID did was send the market through the moon. And so I worked from basically like Q2 of 2019 and did not come up for air until, the end of 2021. And I was like, oh my God, like what just happened? And like I was there for my kids, but it was like every waking moment of my day was jammed in with stuff. Now I have a bit better balance. And, what I try to do with my kids is what I try to do with my life is like when I'm doing the thing, I'm doing it all the way.
Me
right?
too.
So
I
like
can't do half-ass, man.
If I have an hour with my kids, like we're doing something. And it was great when they were young because it'd be like, we're going to the skate park. We're going to play catch.
Like,
We're going to this. It sucks now because my kid's in junior high and he's struggling with math. It's like, we're doing math homework. We're doing science homework.
Yeah, you used to be the fun guy. Now you're the teacher.
But like, if that's the time I have and that's what we need to do, that's what we're doing.
Because
so
it's important for them.
Yeah. So like I just try to, if I have less time, I try to make sure I'm in that time and, going 110%. The same way as like if I'm in my real estate mode selling stuff, I'm there 110%. I may be exhausted, but if I'm there with the client, we're at the showing, I'm in the showing 110%. Right?
Good, man.
So
any last bits of advice, whether you're a new agent trying to get to the next level, or just somebody struggling in whatever business it is? You got any?
Man, I'll just take the one that I steal from my mentor. Like the key to success is doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest possible level.
It's kind of like Mike Tyson says, doing stuff you do like you love, like that you hate, but like you love it.
Yeah, exactly. It's the exact same thing.
know
It's the
what I
exact same
mean?
thing as like do the most important thing almost always and the rest of the stuff never. Yeah. Right? Like it is not complicated. Now, if you have other challenges that you're trying to overcome, that's a different story. And find some people around you, some mentors, get a good group of friends that all are also ambitious and are truly in your corner. But yeah, just do the work, man. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
It's not that hard.
That is it. Well, man, listen, I know you got to get your kids. I just wanted to thank you, Chandler, for coming on. You're an interesting cat.
Yeah, man. I miss this stuff. This is good.
Yeah, and I've admired you from afar for a while, and I really appreciate you. I feel like we have a lot of commonalities in kind of the way we think and approach things, and hopefully we'll see you up there at the tippity top here real soon. So.
Yeah, man. I've enjoyed watching you. I know it was a grind start note, but I know you're doing really well. So
thanks,
congrats,
brother.
buddy.
Appreciate it.
All right. This is good, man.
All right, man. That's it.